Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, Pick Guardian.
Jared Brandon down in Nashville.
Hey everybody, it's me, Todd Novak. Welcome to the Guitar Knobs podcast. We're thrilled to death that you are listening to our show. And we have a guest in-house right now.
In-house?
Yes, go ahead.
Rob Chafe.
You're not like really a guest. You're just a person that keeps showing up.
I just keep showing up at random times.
Yes,
yeah.
Rob Chafe of Mad Cow Amplification on Instagram. If you want to see somebody just get really angry about amplifiers and stuff, then go check it out. It's great fun. But more important than you, Rob. No offense, Rob, but more important than you, vastly more important than you,
Hey, easy.
is our guest on the phone. Guest, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Konnichiwa, it's Chris Gill.
Hey!
Hi, hajimemashite. Jozu yoroshiku tadanobaku desu.
Wow.
Hey.
Can we do the whole show in Japanese?
I'm not prepared.
Yeah, Jared, he's not prepared. My Google Translate's not fast enough.
His microwave just turned on. I don't know what happened. Anyways, all right. So that's all I know, Chris. I can't do any more than that.
I'm out.
I don't know that many words. I know enough to like make people smile, I think. And I don't know if they're smiling at me because they think I'm a jackass or because they truly appreciate the gesture. So
They might. We're going to have such fun tonight because Chris is back for show 2.5 because he shared the first one.
That's right.
Then we had him back to talk about understanding vintage Japanese pedals, which was really cool.
Yep.
And, you know, Chris has a great understanding of gear in Japan. In fact, the thing that we're going to discuss was his trip to Japan, all about guitar shops, the guitar culture, etc. We're going to deep dive into that. So very, very excited. And Chris is a wealth of information. Chris, the brief show notes. We're going up to floor 5. We're on floor 1. What are you known for?
Oh, well, I'm known as a writer. You know, that's pretty much what I've been doing since, oh my gosh. Wow. I think it's been 30 years now. Well over 30 years. Just over 30 years. Guitar journalist, you know, Guitar Player magazine initially, then Guitar World for many years, and actually still to this day I contribute to them from time to time. A few interviews, do regular product reviews for them. Wrote the book Conversations with Eddie Van Halen, Eruption Conversation with Eddie. Let me say that again. Eruption Conversations with Eddie Van Halen, which I co-wrote with Brad Talinsky about 2 years ago. You know, working on another book, which I can't say anything about right now, but when the time is right, I'll be sure to let everyone know.
Absolutely.
Is it discussions with Todd?
Yes. Let down.
Conversations with Todd.
Complete waste of time. Yes.
Also, just a crazy guitar collector. I don't know if last time I think it was, I think I'm around 150 guitars, 100 plus amplifiers, 500 plus effects pedals, and continually growing.
Yes. Where's your house?
Yes.
And what's the security code?
Yes.
It's a hidden bunker in Colorado in the mountain.
In a bunker.
Excellent. Well, yes. So, needless to say, Chris is well versed in the language of guitar. So it's going to be great fun. So we got a full house. Let's get rolling here. We need to just do a quick announcement. The big announcement, I think, this week is we officially have an Airbnb for NAMM.
Yes, we do.
For January.
Yes, we do.
And joining us again is going to be the wonderful Oakland-based Johnny Morales from Oakland Guitars, who was with us last time. He's a great dude, and he said, hey, if you guys are going to do it, I'm in. So we're there.
And we're actually...
Hope to see you all there.
We're media representatives.
We are media representatives. This is amazing.
You got badges?
We got media badges.
Just which is a little card that says press that we have to put in our
press.
hats.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just think if you knew that you could get media badges for all these years.
I know.
Well, you know, live and learn.
Now you guys can get ignored like I do. So
Oh, perfect. Yes. I'm going to dress up like his girl Friday. I'll get into anything. Anyways, that's a deep cut from in and out on it. Anyways, okay. That was the main announcement. We have too much stuff. I don't want to get stuck on that. Let's get going on with what is in our music world this week. Tanya Bolonsky's going to start us off. Then we're going to check in with Chris.
Okay. Well,
Tanya, go ahead.
Should I start now?
Yes, please.
Is now a good time to go?
Yeah.
Okay, then I will.
I'm waiting.
This, I don't have a lot to talk about, but I do have an interesting...
What?
I know, it's hard to believe. But I wanted to run it past the panel here. So I have a friend who's a musician and a guitar shop owner, Mark Chatfield. You know him.
Okay.
So Mark called me today and said, "Hey, I've got a Firebird 1 that I want. The pickup just sounds like crap. It's a one pickup mini humbucker. He wants to put a P90 in it.
That's kind of sacrilege, isn't it?
Well,
I'd say it's kind of sacrilege, isn't it?
not really, because I mean, some of the Firebird ones did have a P90, although the original series had just a mini humbucker or a Firebird pickup.
So what is a Firebird 1? Like, has that been
Firebird 1 is wraparound bridge with a...
so it's like a special kind of...
It's like a junior.
Yeah, like a junior or a
with
special.
an enormous body.
And is this a vintage piece or is it...
It's a newer one.
Okay.
So as I explained to Mark, we're going to get together tomorrow, and he's going to bring it in, and I just wanted to go over the options because its body is routed for a mini humbucker right now, which isn't too far off from dropping in because he wants to put a dog ear in it too.
Okay. Yeah.
So basically, the opening's like a soap bar P90 that we'll just route that out a little bit there. Yeah, if it was a vintage, and Mark wouldn't do it if it was a vintage piece either.
Is he trying to resell it or just?
I've drilled some
for his
holes.
personal self.
I think he's just going to use this one because he's
routed out.
He's got a couple of other, and he probably will.
I just drilled some holes in a vintage Marshall for him. So
Okay,
so he will.
maybe.
If he wants it, he's like, whatever.
Yeah,
Gotta be functional.
This is and I tried to talk him in. I said, "Have you tried like an overwound, mini humbucker or Firebird?"
Yeah, they sound so different than a P90
and he didn't like it. So he's got another Firebird 1 that has a P90 in it that he likes, and that's what he wants. So that's what we're gonna do. So, but I just thought I'd run it past the panel. I mean, what do you?
If that sounds you're going after, that's the guitar. Yeah,
Okay.
the only reason that I think I would ever pause on that is if I wasn't sure I was going to keep the guitar, because obviously,
once you do that, you're
right.
So you gotta go around 14K on a mini humbucker and a bridge just to get a warm enough sound to be able to stand it on a mini or a Firebird.
Okay.
So that's the deal there.
Jared, do they, I know you've made loads and loads of P90s. Is there a P90 that I know that P90s can go into like you can put a P90 into like a humbucker housing
Casing.
and
I was wondering that too, because I
mean?
know Lawler makes P90s in other
Is that a
formats
thing,
and
Jared?
sizes.
Like P90 into a mini humbucker size?
No,
I don't think you could do it. In a
you
mini
won't get
humbucker
the
size.
sound. You've got to have the large structure to get the P90 sound.
Okay.
Yeah.
And even the P90 and a humbucker casing don't exactly sound the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
They have about the same amount of windings, but the bobbin itself is smaller.
Yeah.
It has to be smaller to fit under a cover.
Got it.
So we now sell a pickup called a P90 DC, and it has
We
dual
being
coil.
Gibson. Let's just clarify that.
Yeah,
Right.
Gibson sells a pickup called P90 DC. It's got dual coils, neodymium magnets, and it sounds really good. So if he even wanted a noiseless humbucker sound with a P90 look,
Does it
then
actually sound like a P90?
yes,
Okay.
yeah. Well,
I
you
saw
have
those
to judge for yourself, but they
Yeah.
do sound pretty good.
Yeah.
I was intrigued. I saw those come up. Whatever they announced them, 3-6 months ago. I saw that.
Yeah,
So,
Lindy Fralin has a similar design.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one that I've put in a lot of my single pickup P90
Yeah,
guitars.
they sound pretty.
That's about as close as you can get.
I want the
Yeah.
noise, man. I like standing in front.
I don't like the noise.
And when you're playing live and it's like nothing and then something.
Depends on what you're doing, man.
Anyways, yeah,
Anyway,
not
so-
for you.
On today's
You're
pickup
playing
show,
like the Moody Blues and stuff.
yeah, right.
So the consensus of opinion, do it.
Do it. Why not? Yeah, if it's a new one, definitely not if it's a super old one. Just sell the
No.
guitar. Because if,
Yeah,
I mean,
do it.
Whatever.
Do it.
Okay.
So you're gonna do
Tell
a
Mark,
template
guys.
or anything? Or you're just gonna go free form, like with a hand drill and
Oh, I thought I would just get a just
chisel.
a screwdriver
Yeah, I
and,
mean,
a, and
I'm
a
sure
hammer.
you've seen those before.
saws
Where
off.
people, yeah, my buddy did this for me. It's like, holy crap!
No,
no.
Now,
You see
Chris,
the blowtorch
My
marks?
buddy.
how many Firebirds do you have?
I don't have a proper Firebird.
Oh,
I have an ESP version of the Firebird. What's called the Phoenix, I believe.
Those are really cool.
yeah.
Oh,
it's a-
yeah.
It's a cool guitar. Still, not really an official neck through, but kind of that semi that super smooth peel. So it's like a neck through, anyways.
Yeah.
But that's the. I've always wanted a Firebird, but I have never found the one. So
got it.
yeah,
All right.
It's an acquired taste.
it is.
yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm more of
That's
an
a
explorer
soundbite
guy,
right
to be
there.
honest. I mean, I have several explorers, and that's more my jam. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Explorer is a little more comfortable to play too.
Yes, sir.
yeah.
Let's see, Chris, what's going on in your music world?
Oh, well, besides trying to painfully work on this book, which Brad and I don't have any contract or agreement for yet, so we're working on that. Just been reviewing products and kind of just detoxing from my trip overseas.
Yeah.
It took a while to recover from that. And thanks to United, I had a stretch that I was awake for 36 hours coming home.
Jeez.
So
Wow.
so that was really
Yeah,
fun,
see
and
a
I ended
therapist for that.
Just short story here, but we landed in Newark, airport at like 2 a.m, and our car service lied to us and said that, oh yeah, a car will be there in 15 minutes. We waited 15 minutes, no car. Then he told us, oh, we don't have any drivers. So I looked over at the taxi line, and they were just like rust buckets, just like the worst of the worst taxis. And said, I'm not riding a taxi home at 3 a.m. in one of these cars. So I called up, got an Uber. Guy was really stoned. He drove like about 20 miles an hour under the speed limit.
Oh man.
Car was bombed with this cherry car freshener stuff.
Oh
that,
man.
That infiltrated our suitcases and our clothes, and that dissipated after about a month. But anyways, I've been reviewing products as usual, kind of, enjoying. I mean, it's just we're in such a crazy golden era, I think, of gear manufacturing where there's just so much stuff is just good.
Yeah.
I don't really get bad products that much anymore. And I always look at something and go like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to really dig this or not. I'm like, I'm actually pleasantly surprised.
That's awesome. Can
Yeah.
you share with us maybe one of the most recent great surprises that you're able to talk about?
Oh, well, just today, I wrote up a review for the Donner Hush X. It's like a travel guitar.
Oh.
And I just thought this thing is so minimalistic. It's smaller than a Steinberger. It has these metal, frame things that kind of clip on to either side. It sounded pretty damn good.
Huh.
Like
Nice.
you think that it's just basically like a neck, and it folds down and fits into a thing that looks like, one of those things to carry around a two-piece pool cue, a little gig bag. It's a tiny little thing.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, this isn't going to sound any good. And it sounded like, wow, I said if I did a blind test, if somebody was playing this in a full-size solid body guitar, I don't think I could tell the difference.
That's amazing.
And those
And it
aren't
plays well.
those aren't terribly expensive either.
Yeah,
are they?
$400.
Yeah.
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 So if you are traveling a lot, and that's that's a good deal.
Yeah, I was really surprised it wasn't a compromise. At least it wasn't as much of a compromise as I thought it would be. I mean, it really, I will say it wasn't a compromise. It sounded good. The only thing I could say is that it had a humbucker and a single coil, and the single coil was really more of a middle position than a neck position, and that's because of where they placed this cover for the truss rod
Got it.
adjustment nut. So that was my only real beef about it. It was like, it would have been nice to have it more of a neck position, especially when you just have the two pickups.
Got it. Excellent.
So,
Well,
that
that's
was cool.
That's cool. All right, Rob Chafe, what's going on in your music
Yes.
world?
Well, I'm still playing around with a bunch of pedals, comparing, contrasting different Klon clones, which Todd has brought in a few for
I
me
really
to
wish you'd
try.
do video on that. We were gonna do it, and it's like I just my life is too
Yeah,
complicated.
who's
to do
got
that
time?
Right now.
Who's got time to do the video, edit it, and then answer the
You do.
questions that everybody's going to follow up with?
You do.
No. So I took 3 to a gig, and because I couldn't decide which one to bring, so I brought 3.
Yep.
Put them next to my normal pedal board, and could barely tell any difference at all. Because once it's in the soup of the stage, it's like
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, interesting though. But there were 2 different archers.
You didn't try them at home?
No, of course I did.
Oh.
But I couldn't, because each one emphasizes a different mid-range character.
Yeah.
And it's not just clearly better or worse. It's just different.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, in the mix of everything, which one would I prefer?
Yeah.
It's 2 of the archers and then the Ryra.
Yeah.
And
Okay. Well, and I just gave you a little bag of them. And something else maybe to consider in the differences beyond tone is, I guess, the user experience, user interface experience. So one of those that I gave you, the sweep on the potentiometer, it's like if you move it a little bit, it changes it a lot. And the other one, you got to move it a lot to change it a little bit, which is that kind of throws things off a little bit. So you
Yeah.
can't just set everything at like,
Oh,
I'm
no,
gonna
no.
check everything at 11 o'clock.
No. All these, I'm using my ears to get them because I kind of know what I'm looking at. Where it's just a little bit of breakup, like from the pedal, and a tiny bit of volume boost.
Oh man, you gotta go.
Not what
Goose
I'm
it,
what I'm
goose it,
running
baby.
into is an already pretty darn broken up Marshall front end. So it's
Oh, it's already
oh yeah. This is
Okay.
not going into a clean amp now. No.
Okay.
This is going into my Bogner with the gain turned down a bit
yeah.
without the boost on. So it's already
Okay.
yeah. So
Well,
I know
it
what
would
I'm
be
gonna use
interesting.
it
I
for.
would be interested to hear what you thought about going through a much cleaner amp and goosing them and hearing what they can really do.
Yeah.
Like honestly, like I think that'd be really cool to hear your experience with that.
Yeah.
I know you're brushing me off on that. but
No.
that's okay.
No. It's just what I'm looking to do with these. It just isn't.
If you
what I'm
need
doing
like
now.
a different amp to play through, I can loan you.
I think I have enough, especially clean platforms. Not a problem.
repairman. His house is full of amps.
Chris, do you have a favorite clone model?
Yeah.
A clone model, I
don't-
should say.
I have a Klon, so I don't.
My
really
man,
need one.
welcome to the club.
Yeah, I mean,
Jared's he's got the one pedal.
We're in the high rollers club here.
He sold everything to get that one.
I actually,
Mile High
I was,
Club.
I was one of the first people to review them. Way back in the mid '90s, so I got it when it was still expensive back then. It was hard to pay that much money for a pedal.
Yeah.
For me back then, but I'm glad I did now.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you?
Oh, wow,
Did
yeah.
you ever communicate with Bill Finnegan?
Yes, I have. I talked with him actually quite a bit back in the day.
awesome.
Now, when clones were starting to get harder to get, all of a sudden he stopped answering my emails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get another one as a backup just in case, and I'd never heard back from him.
What model do you have?
I have one of the gold colored ones with the horsey,
Right.
on it, Centaur.
Yeah.
I also have a couple of the very first KTRs too. So
Gotcha.
I did get my backups on those. So I got like when they first came out, I went out and got them by hook or crook.
Can you tell the difference?
When it really comes down to it, no.
Okay.
It's very, very subtle. I mean, you're really splitting hairs.
Right. It's just a collectability factor of
It's the
one versus the
collectability.
other.
It's kind of the coolness factor. I mean, yeah, the original Centaur looks really cool, with the cast, housing and everything. But yeah, it's like the difference is very negligible.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. Okay. Well, thanks, Rob. Looking
problem.
to hear back from
Yep.
you
I'll give you
on
more
what you
pedal
got
updates.
there. Jared.
So I'd like to share an experience that happened a few weeks ago at work. So I work for Gibson, and I was giving a tour to the pickup shop to our Japanese dealers. They were in town, so I thought I'd bring this story up and because of our guest.
Yes.
Chris guest here. So his story here. So we had the dealers in, and there were 3 different groups. And the building where the pickup shop is in also houses the Reverb. So where we sell our demos on Reverb, and that operation is in-house, and also our mod shop. So you could buy modded Gibsons as well. And there's also a classroom area. So we have several uses for this enormous building. The pickup shop takes up maybe a third of it. So bear with me here. So there's 3 different groups going on 3 different tours. So we're hitting the 3 different units. And
did they have speed passes?
They did not.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
So I didn't get that humor. Just your humor's weird. But anyway, we so of course we had
it's Disneyland.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Man, I know, you're right. So anyway, it was so fantastic given these guys, they were so into it. I've never seen these guys so into the pickup shop. And at the end we had a big Q&A, and they did not ask one question about the other 2 units. They didn't care about the demo thing, didn't talk about the NOD thing. All they wanted to drill me on was the greedy buckers. And they took up the whole time, and the other managers and the director that runs the whole building was just like, why are we even here? That's all they just care about pickups. So I thought it was fantastic. They were I got to tell you, they drilled down and drilled down and drilled down, and they're relentless. They're very detail oriented, and I also had Japanese customers with my other business that I owned before Gibson, and they're the same way. So I have a very high respect for their demand for quality and answers and details.
Cool.
That's the Japanese culture, my experience.
Are we going to see a Japanese knockoff of the Greenie Buckers in about 6 weeks?
Probably. I was going to say.
Were they taking lots of detailed notes and asking about exact windings and wire gauges? And
yeah, I mean, some of the specs are published online, but yeah, I didn't. I acted like I gave them more. I acted like I gave them more, but I don't give any information that's not published. A really fun group, man. I had a blast. I would, if one of them sneezed, I would get the Google Translate and say "bless you," and it would, say "bless you" in a really long Japan. So when the interpreter was telling them what I'm talking about, what I'm saying,
yes,
I would say a short sentence, and the interpreter would go on. And I looked over at Tara, one of the managers. I said, "Tara, I didn't say that much."
He was talking about lunch.
Tony asked me what's going on.
Yeah.
Tony asked me what's going on.
Is it Todd? Is that
Yes.
your name?
Yes,
What's happening in your music
Well,
world
I
this
had a
week?
very interesting thing happen because it's a follow up from the Hello Sailor amp.
Oh yes.
So I mentioned that I replaced the speaker.
Yes,
right?
you did. I remember
So
you
everybody's
saying
going,
that.
yeah, Todd, don't cover that again. Well, I'm not. Kind of.
Sort of.
So
oh no,
it's so neat. I'm tickled pink about it. Yes. So I got this pink. I got this pink speaker.
Nice.
It is the hippopotamus, by way of hippopotamus, I should say.
Yes.
And so, just a little bit of history. The amp itself is a 1940s film sound projector amplifier that's been converted, and it's been put into a 40s era projector box. It's not the same. It's not brand to brand. It's a totally different one.
Yes.
Which has been outfitted with a 12-inch speaker in front, and I dussied it up a little bit, gave it a little cosmetic zhuzh, and I put this speaker in, and it sounded fantastic. Yes. Now you're like, Todd, you told us that.
yeah.
Here's the coolest part.
So
Tony,
I get a text
Tony gets this text
from one of my customers,
from one of his customers,
who sold said speaker to the music store that Todd purchased it.
Yes.
And he had all the details.
Yes. This is so neat.
So go ahead.
Do it. No, you do it.
Okay, so it turns out, so yes, it is. There's a company north of here that does speaker renovations and things, and the speaker that is actually in there is a 1940s speaker that was reconed with this hippopotamus cone.
Yes.
So it's
That is so
Alnico
cool.
2 from 1940s.
Oh, and somebody also painted the frame.
No, the frame's not painted.
Oh, so it's just the cone is
just
pink.
a cone is
Yeah.
painted.
Oh, I was thinking the cone was normal hemp,
No.
and then the frame was pink.
No, or else Henry
Oh,
Cash would have been calling me right now.
Gotcha. Okay. I see.
So
Okay,
anyway,
it
so
was
it's
a
so
cone.
neat.
Okay.
So we have a
That's
1940s
weird.
Alnico speaker that's been reconed, but still pretty cool.
Yeah.
Inside of a 1940s housing, powered by a 1940s film sound projector.
How cool is that? And it sounds awesome.
Yeah, it does sound really good.
That's something.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's something, all right.
It's something.
I don't know what it is, but it's
But
something.
it's something.
Indeed. Anyways, so that was a really fun thing, and I'm so glad that Tony shared that information with me because I was just running around to everybody. You're not going to believe this. All right. So, hey,
Small
you know
world.
what? Speaking of 1940s amps, if you've got pedals, you need to get them connected with Tour Gear Designs patch cables.
Yes, you do.
Absolutely.
Right.
Why?
Because
Of
you
crates.
can set up any size pedal board in any configuration.
You're saying if I had like a 1 foot by 2 foot,
You got
Pedal?
minis. You got
or what about
colon-sized
if I
things.
had like
You
a
got
2 foot
Line
by
6
4 foot?
DL4. You got all the stuff. You got top jack, side jacks. You got 2 different power supplies. No problem.
Do you? What about
comes
these
in-
things that have these like inserts with a TRS kind of splitter
Yeah,
thing?
that's a different thing altogether.
Oh.
So anyways, more importantly,
Sorry.
it's got all the different sizes. And you can go create your own custom pack of these things
Yes.
on tourgeardesigns.com.
I'm told that after you load up your shopping cart, if you
Yeah.
go to your checkout page,
Yes.
there's a place for a coupon code, and if you put the guitar knobs, all lowercase, all one word,
Yes.
you save an additional 10%.
That is actually not true, Tony.
no?
That's 10%.
It's 15% now.
What?
Yes.
What?
Tour Gear upped our discount to 15%.
Oh,
Not
Guitar
bad.
Knobs listeners, get yourself some of these patch cables. I'm telling you, they are the best things since.
sliced bread.
No, I was going to say something different altogether, but that's okay. We'll go with sliced bread.
Since Greeniebacks.
Greeniebacks, yes. So anyways, go to Tour Gear Designs, get the 15% off. Thank you so much to Tour Gear Designs for not only sponsoring the 4 on the Floor, but for making a great product for all of us guitar players out there.
Yes.
Jared? Let me get a little bit of this. 1, 2, 3. 4 on the floor. All right.
floor.
Chris Gill, writer, guitar gear writer extraordinaire, world traveler, and such. What is your second 4 on the floor?
Actually, this is my third.
This is your third 4 on the floor. I know what I'm doing.
This time, I'm going to go an entirely different direction. I'm going to go with all new stuff,
Ooh.
like stuff that's come out within the
like
last
it.
year or so.
Okay.
This is stuff that's really floating my boat now. Stuff I've reviewed and wouldn't send back. And
Not
you
made
know,
of unobtainium.
exactly. Not,
Okay.
This is not. This is stuff you can find.
Cool.
And it's relatively reasonably priced. But first one is the Maris LVX.
Okay.
Just it's a soundscape, chill out room, ambient noise generator in a box. That's about all I can say. It's just like, instant soundtrack composer work box. It's
Right.
just amazing. You can sit there and just chill out for hours with all these crazy sound effects and everything, and meander. And it's just beautiful, just lush. In this case, it's just when I love to bliss out on something, it's just, wow, just these washes of ambient noise that just go on for days, and they go in all these different directions, and just beautiful sounding.
Right. Listening to Brian Eno much, or?
Yeah, you know, kind of like modern Brian Eno-ish type of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's just it's cool, you know. But
That's
it's the
cool.
kind of thing that you don't shred. You just sit there and you hit a note and bliss out. So that's what it does best.
I like that. Very cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, I see a used one on Reverb for $465, which that is, you know, that's a nice chunk of change. But what you're talking about, you know, that new, I'm assuming it's probably more like closer to 600.
I think it's about 600. Yeah,
Yeah.
But it's if you're into that type of thing, it's worth every dollar.
Yeah.
Of it, just because it's so high quality, it's so refined.
Galaxy of sound.
It is a galaxy of sound.
Yes, that's what LVX stands for. Okay. Anyways, how about number 2?
Source Audio EQ2, which is a programmable EQ. From the pedal, you can access about 4 or 8 different presets, depending how you have it set up. It stores 128 presets. You can program everything on the computer, which is really the best way to get into it. You basically have 10 fully assignable EQ bands, which means you can make them parametric, you can make them shelving, you know, any variety of different styles of EQ. On the computer, you can draw the EQ wave. And
That's cool.
you know, if you've nerded out on sound like I have for years, you start to know, like, okay, if I want, okay, this type of EQ curve, that's the Metallica sound.
Right.
You know, this is like a single coil type of sound.
Right.
You know, this is, you know, whatever. You know, you can go through a different number of things. I mean, it's part of, you know, what makes all the different distortion and fuzz boxes so appealing to us is that they each have their own, or at least they should have their own EQ character. Well.
Right.
This pedal kind of does away with the need for that. You know, you just basically need something that can distort your signal, and then you shape the EQ on this thing. And I had so much fun, you know, drawing sounds, you know, or shaping them out by ear and carving them up and everything. And
Right.
just that I could get really close to all these different sounds that I wanted. And I think from a sound engineer perspective, it's just an amazing tool.
I would think that would be extremely helpful for people that are doing like I guess, you know, like the long house band kind of sets where you have to hit so many different types of styles and you know, well-known guitar sounds and tones without a crap ton of gear, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a perfect
I think
example
it sounds like
of
it would be
that.
perfect for that.
Yeah. I mean, you know, if you want to dial in that type of Brian May style mid-range without
Right.
having to have a Brian, you know, having a red special with the Vox pickups, you know, or whatever.
Right.
You know, it's like you can dial that in. You
Yeah.
know, it's all there. It's you know, it's funny because I talked with someone else about it and they said it was just too much for them, and I understand that, but it's like for someone like me who loves to really geek out and dig deep and just refine stuff and just find my sound or find a sound, it's a godsend.
That's cool. Very cool.
And I think
those are about
it's about
$300.
Yeah, $300.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
So
280.
yeah.
We'll split these.
280.
We'll split the higher half of the difference.
Cool.
How about number 3?
The Universal Audio UAFX Lion pedal.
Oh, I just
which
saw
is part-
that. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole new series. I mean, UAFX is just doing some really cool stuff right now. Their 1176 pedal is another thing I just looked at. That's really cool. But I'm picking the Lion because it just basically nails classic Marshall tones. It's a little expensive at $400 because, you know, like if you have like an Axe FX3 that has a ton of amps in it, you know, this is like 3 good Marshalls basically in a box for, you know, about $133, you know, each. You know, so it's not as cost effective as an FX3, but if Marshalls are your thing and you want something simple to go on your pedal board, it nails it.
And it
just
hits
really
the cabs
nails.
too, it looks like.
And the cabs, yeah, exactly. It's the
So-
full package. Just
Yes, you can right into your DAW and go. That's what I'm
Right,
seeing a lot
exactly.
of guys are using these for. Yeah.
So you could use this and like say you know, like a HXFX or something like that, and go line out, and you're right on the money. Thanks. I was the one who was off mic this time, and you could just go.
yeah, you could, perfect for a fly rig.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow.
Have you seen the UA's other stuff? They
Yeah.
have. Yeah. So that's basically it.
Yeah. Okay. Very
They're just-
cool.
the whole thing that they're taking from their software and putting it into this pedal format is a really cool direction that they're going, and it's Really cool stuff. I mean, the 1176 is just killer. It's really just if studio effects on stage. Oh my God, just great. So
that's I like the idea of the fly rig thing because that's a tricky thing. So
Yeah.
does this go? You can't go direct out.
Yeah, you can.
You can. It's got a direct.
You
on
can.
it?
Yeah.
You can't go right direct. Yeah.
I don't know if it's got XLR or not, but I've seen guys just taking the
Okay.
one of the outs and just
Wow.
I think it's balanced outs by 1/4 inch.
Gotcha. That's pretty cool, man. I mean, I definitely understand why someone would say, I need this. That's cool. How about number 4?
Number 4, the Boss SDE 3000 EVH pedal. It was kind of actually, for me, it was a toss-up between that and the DM 101. But I just have a soft spot for the SDE 3000. It's my favorite digital delay of all time. And the fact that you can do the wet, dry, wet setup so easily with this, having spent so much time with Ed and, going in 2015 and going, getting full access to his stage rig and being able to see every nook and cranny of his setup and everything, knowing what's involved and how he does his wet, dry, wet setup and how this pedal just makes it so easy to do that. And it sounds great. It's even if you have 3 mini heads, and 1x12 cabinets, 3 1x12 cabinets, it's a great sound.
I got a question on this. Do you have any idea? Did Ed have any input on this before he passed, or if this was something that was developed after?
Yeah, he was still alive when the whole project started. Mm-hmm. So it was his wish.
Nice.
I have to add my own personal story with it because when I worked at Roland and did artist relations, I actually sent Ed some SDE 3000As, which were identical to the 3000. They brought them back due to popular demand because so many professionals wanted them. And Roland at that time was like, we're not bringing anything back. It's just like, Ikutaro Kakahashi said, our motto is we designed the future, And it's like, so we're not going back to the past, But there was so much demand for the SDE 3000 that they brought it back. And I actually sent Ed over several of them, and it was really cool for me to go to the shows at 2012. And again, I was invited to go back and see all his gear and everything, and to see one of those SDE 3000As in the rack. It's like, oh, cool, I sent Ed that,
Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome, man.
Yeah. So it's sentimental for me as much as that, but it sounds really good too.
I can imagine. It has to with that many buttons.
Yeah. The one thing I will say is that when it came out and a bunch of people rushed their YouTube review videos out and they didn't take the time to read the effing manual.
Oh.
And it does sound exactly like the old original unit. I have several of them and I've compared, but there are internal settings that goes beyond that. And a lot of people were picking presets that used different modulation waveforms, and it had different filtering on it and various other things. So they're saying, oh, it doesn't sound the same. And it's like, well, yeah, because you're using these internal settings. You didn't read the manual,
Right.
So you have to set it up to all the original classic settings and then it does it. So, but it goes beyond that, which is also a good thing.
Interesting. Well,
Yeah.
if you like reading and you like playing, then this is for you, right?
Exactly.
Good. Okay.
And it's not that tough of a read. It's just basically, familiarize yourself. There's a handful of features that are new and different on it compared to the original unit.
I'm sure it's just like anything where like if you get the HX Stomp for the first time, you're kind of baffled. I got the what was the unit that I recently got. The GP200, I'm trying to remember the Valton GP200, and I was looking, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to this is gonna take a weekend and like an hour, and I was like, oh, I got it. Okay, I know how this whole thing works. It's great. It looks complicated, but it's not.
It's
cool, man.
Guitar gear.
Yeah, right on.
Not
Well,
brain
thank you
surgery.
for sharing your third 4 on the floor with us. Now we need to motor on to the pièce de résistance.
Yes.
I caught a post that you did. It was like a story, an Instagram story, and you had mentioned you were in Japan. You were traveling, taking a tour of all the guitar shops and stuff like that. And I said, "Holy mackerel, that sounds like fun. Let's get you on the show." So, a brief synopsis, an overview, if you will. What was the point of you going there?
Well, first thing was, I used to go every year to Japan and then Tokyo. I just went to Tokyo. And then COVID hit. And they shut the country down. And I was like, damn you, you cannot deprive me of my Japan fix. So I was like an addict, having the shivers and the shakes and everything. And, of course, they finally announced that, hey, we're letting tourists back in. It's like, well, thank God. So booked my tickets. And to preface this, I was at a sushi restaurant and talking with the sushi chef, and he asked me if I'd been to Japan. I said, oh, yes, I've been to Tokyo. And he's like, oh, well, you haven't really been to Japan. And it's like, like just going to Tokyo is like going to New York City and saying you've been to the United States. And I thought, very, very interesting. Yes,
Okay.
That's wise advice. So this time I decided flying to Tokyo, take the bullet train down to Hiroshima, and work my way back up to Tokyo. About 3 weeks that I was there. And had some side excursions. There was some stuff I did for my daughter. We went to Okunoshima. It's the notorious Bunny Island.
Oh, yeah. I've heard about that, actually.
Yeah, it was in World War II, they manufactured, it was a secret island that wasn't on any maps, and they manufactured poison gas there.
Perfect.
And somehow, somewhere, no one knows how they ended up with all these domesticated rabbits, and they multiplied like rabbits do.
Yeah, I wonder if that's kind of what, Isle of Dogs from Wes Anderson is loosely based on. It might be.
It could be, except the place there is just, it's so blissful. It's just it's
Isle of Dogs is not
the ultimate.
blissful.
It's the happy place. It's like you get off the on ground and you're immediately besieged by hungry little bunnies. And I bought like several pounds of rabbit food at the local pet store before I came in anticipation of this, and just was feeding these bunnies the whole way. And they just come running out of the mountains and the trees.
That would terrify me, Chris, because when I was a kid, I'll tell you why. When I was a kid, now that this is going to come full circle real quick here. When I was a kid, I remember my parents taking me to see this animated movie about rabbits, and it scared the living hell out of me because it was called Watership Down.
Watership Down,
and it was bunnies ripping each other's throats out, and it was just children screaming in a theater, bloody murder.
Yeah, exactly.
And now they've since re-released it. I'm not going to watch it. It took me years to get over those nightmares. I'm not doing that again.
I think we should do a Clockwork Orange on you.
I love Clockwork Orange.
No, we'll put you in the chair with your eyes.
Yes.
And I'll administer the eye drops.
Anyways, back to Scary Bunny Island.
Well, my daughter loves bunnies, so I knew about Watership Down, having seen it, and I could never show my daughter that movie.
Right?
So she loves them too much. But it's so cute. It's just like you're covered with these bunnies. They come from everywhere. We had there's one stretch where it gets a little remote. You're going up a hill and everything, and there was this one rabbit who just chased us around, and he had little tunnels. Like we'd lose the guy behind us, and then we'd be coming up around a bend, and he'd be in front of us. It's insane. But anyways, Hiroshima was like the start of the guitar searching thing, and that's where I kind of found my first thing, and I thought, okay, it's the beginning of the trip. I'm not going to buy anything just yet.
Before you go any further, was the intent, I'm assuming the intent was you were going to go on a guitar shop tour of the country, yes?
Pretty much. That was that, and also stuff to please the wife and the daughter, which, they would get bored from stuff. So we broke it up with a lot of different stuff. But for me, it was every time we were in any town, I was hunting out guitar shops.
Yes, okay.
And I had kind of mapped it out in advance. So I said, let's go check this out. Oh, by the way, hey, what do you know? There's a guitar shop.
Yeah.
Wow.
How strange.
I'll see you guys in an hour.
Take us on your tour of the guitar shops. And then along the way, I think we just want to, we hope to gain a better understanding of what is exciting and unique in those shops, and how is that different from what we're dealing with here?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. We'll shut up.
First thing with Hiroshima, there's not a whole ton of shops there. Hiroshima is kind of like it's a big city, but it still has a bit of a small town vibe to it. But I found an ESP Big Boss store. Their Big Boss is like the major chain. It's amazing what ESP does over there. They own Japan. Ibanez doesn't. All these other Japanese brands don't. But ESP is brilliant. They have these Big Boss stores in every major urban center has a Big Boss store. So you can count on that. And they're stocked mostly with ESP and ESP off-brand like Edwards and Grassroots, brand guitars. But they also have other stuff in there as well.
Now, when you're saying Big Boss store, where it's not to be confused with Boss.
No, it isn't.
Okay.
But it's
totally
different. The store's name is Big Boss.
Okay, gotcha.
So it's basically called Big Boss, and it's but it's ESP branded as well.
Gotcha.
But Big Boss is the name of the store, and
Gotcha.
it's literally like every city, every major
So it's
city.
like a Guitar Center with one brand.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and so some of the shops might be a little bit smaller in size, but they're just packed with great gear. And almost every one of them, you can also order stuff from the ESP custom shop, which is another thing unto itself, which is amazing.
Very cool.
But I found one in Hiroshima that was not too far from the Peace Dome, which it's a very moving thing to see. You see the pictures of it and you think, oh, yeah, and then you get there and you're around people, and it's very emotional.
I can imagine.
There's just, you can still feel the pain of what, of the Americans dropping the bomb on that city and everything like that. It's just, it's really such an energy there. It's quite amazing. But I found, the ESP shop there, and I didn't really find a whole lot else there. I wasn't there too long. Now, the next stop that I went to was Osaka. And Osaka's big city. I love Osaka. In Van Halen terms, I call it the fair warning of Japanese cities because it's got an edge to it.
Okay.
It's notorious for, I mean, by American standards, it's a walk in the park. But by Japanese standards, they have drunks, they have gangs and stuff like that. But they're not like, like dealing with the Bronx or, South Central LA or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it does have an edge to it. And the people there are very friendly, though. And there's a section of
I'm
town.
hearing Mean Streets in my head.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And there's a section called Amerikamura. And if I remember right, it was like a place where they used to sell black market American goods, like after World War II, essentially. And it's now turned into kind of like the hipster neighborhood.
I was just going to ask, is this where all the guys on choppers are and they dress like, and everybody's like kind of greaser style?
There's a bit of that,
Okay.
and there's just a lot of hip hop style. There's a lot of rocker style. There's a lot of the Harajuku girl style. The frilly dresses and all that sort of stuff. They have a lot of clothing
Tony,
stores.
you know that one.
Oh, yes.
A lot of clothing stores, so great places to get boots. There's a big Doc Martens store that's covered in all kinds of punk rock, flyers and posters.
Cool.
And stuff. It's really cool, like right in the center of it. And there's a bunch of music stores, of course. So you have your Ishibashi, which is kind of another big chain. You have a couple of your bigger chain stores there, but there's a store that I found that's really more exclusive to the Osaka area called Mikigaki. And the store in Amerikamura is, I'm trying to remember if it's 3 or 4 floors, but each floor is like basically different brands. Like one floor is Gibson, one floor is Fender, and there's some stuff mixed in on all these floors, and the top floor is like vintage. And they have a lot of great guitars. One thing that really blew me away is that they have a section that's all relish guitars. And here in the United States, I might see, if I'm lucky, I see like 1 or 2 relish guitars sometimes.
What is it? Not relic. Relish?
Relish, like, I'm putting some relish on my hot dog.
Relish.
They're kind of a very modern type of guitar. Some of them have like the hollow body with the compartment. Boy, I'm trying to really explain it.
It's not a brand, it's a style?
It's a brand. It is a brand.
It's a brand. Okay, we
Yeah.
got to look this up because we're all
We're all
looking at each
stumped
other
here.
like, what?
Yeah. I knew about this from Guitar Aficionado. It's kind of a high-end guitar.
Okay.
And they had like 25, 30 of them. It was just like, oh my gosh, I've never seen this many in a single place before.
Wow.
So that really blew me away. And I have to add one thing in, is that the salespeople all had on these T-shirts. And it had this design with a geisha girl playing a Gibson Explorer, because I'm a big Gibson Explorer fan.
Love the Explorer.
And then, of course, it had the Japanese text on the sides. And I was like, I need to have that.
Yeah.
I want that shirt. And I asked one of the sales guys, the guy I found who spoke some English, I said, like, can I buy one of those? He's like, no, you cannot buy. I'm like, oh, come on, man. He's like, no. And I'm like, so I'm going through the store and I'm shooting some video and taking some pictures. And I go up to the top floor and they had 2 boxes full of these shirts. And there was a guy up there and I said, can I buy one of these? He's like, no, you can't buy. So I did the dirty thing. I took a picture of one of the guys. I asked if I could take a picture of the guy with the shirt, right? So I took a picture of the shirt. When I got home, I went to Underground Printing and had him copy the design and print it out for me.
Nice.
Because you can't tell me no. You know?
Yeah. You don't take no for
sell
an
you one. I mean,
I will not be denied. I don't know what the deal was.
like you'd impersonate a sales guy and run around the store and cause havoc, or what?
I think it was for some special event. It was something about 200 years of something, and I couldn't figure out what the heck it said. And it was just like, man, this is just bizarre. You know, it's like it must be some inside thing or some special event they're having, and I just don't qualify. I don't know, but they were very adamant that I could not have one of those shirts. So
Crazy.
yeah. One thing I will throw in that's very cool about Japanese guitar stores for your souvenirs, best place to go, any guitar shop, because they all, not all of them, but most of them have like these crazy guitar picks with these insane graphics on them.
Oh, neato.
And every store has different stuff. The ESP has like a whole wide range of stuff. They have anime characters. They have Hatsune Miku, the Vocaloid, AI kind of, singer girl stuff. They have all kinds of anime characters and all kinds of bands and everything with their own custom picks. But at Mikigaki, I found it was like this anime show called Yuderman, and it's kind of like Wacky Racers, but kind of like Wacky Racers, but different. But they had all these different characters on these picks. So of course, my daughter and I going through them and trying to get individual copies of each one that we could find. But that was really cool. But yeah, it's really fun to go and just all the crazy custom guitar picks, because they just have all these great stuff with great graphics on them. So that's part of the fun, is just going and buying picks. But yeah, that was a great store. And the other thing I will say about going over there is there's a lot of like smaller used stores.
Yes.
And some of them are not so great. They're just like, they have okay stuff, but every now and then there's like a gem lurking in there. And what's good about these places to go is a lot of the bigger places have discovered Reverb, or jguitar.com. So a lot of the stuff's picked over and sold already.
Yeah.
But some of these smaller shops, you will find like some of those elusive items, like old Grecos, and, older brand, Arias or whatever, like Aria, BC Rich copies that are really great from like the late 70s. You'll find some of this stuff lurking there occasionally. So I recommend just popping in there and taking a quick look around. Because, from the surface, you look at it and go like, that looks like a bunch of crap. But actually, there is some good stuff in there.
Did you get any used goodies?
I didn't. This is actually going back to Hiroshima at the Big Boss store. I saw a Grassroots mini Les Paul. And it was just the coolest thing. It's a mini, like 20-inch scale, a tiny Les Paul, and again, for the Van Halen kick, it's kind of like a little bit bigger than the Petchlot guitar that he had. But I just had to have, I said, like, it's Big Boss, I'll pick one up at the end of my trip when I'm in Tokyo.
Yeah. We need a picture of Jared with a mini Les Paul.
Yeah.
Just a regular Les Paul.
Yeah, that would look like a mini on him. Yeah, a regular one.
So yeah, it's like a ukulele. So, but yeah, it's that was pretty much my big thing. It was like $250.
Man.
The other thing, the exchange rate right now is outrageous. It's so good, 150 yen to the dollar. So, it's supposed to be about 100 yen to the dollar. So do the math. It's like 33% off sale on everything.
Wow.
So, and I will say as an aside, man. Our economy's messed up. We're greedy bastards over here, because even not accounting for the crazy exchange rate favorability to the dollar, you can have great meals over there for like $5. There's like over by Ochanomizu, which I'll get to. There's a curry place that I went to, like a little tiny kitchen counter place. And I got, a big, huge dish of curry with rice, and a pork cutlet and a beer for $5.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tony's
And
attention.
and sushi places, you know.
You had
Because
me
he
at
has
pork
$10.
There were like sushi places I went to, you know, that were like, you know, omakase, you know, where they serve you, you know, whatever the chef wants and whatever, you know, multi-course, whatever. It was like $40 a person.
Jeez.
You know, over here it's like nowadays here in
That's
you know the New York
$60 a
area, you're
person
getting up into
easy.
$100, $150, $200.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, in where did you find? I mean, did you find a store in every one of these places? Was it all chains?
No, not really. I mean, they're like in Osaka. I mean, Hiroshima, I didn't look around enough to really say for sure, but they're mostly bigger stores. But there are some smaller places here and there. In Tokyo, you definitely get a lot of more independent shops, which I will get to some of that stuff. But in Americamura, they had kind of a combination of that. I mean, the smaller shops were more like these, like I said, these kind of places, these little niches that had mostly used stuff. And they were kind of like, there was even a place, I believe it was an offshoot of what they have this store called Book Off, which is a used bookstore, and they have like other off stores. And I remember this one place, it's like kind of like a glorified pawn shop, although it's not pawn shop, it's just, you know, people come in and they sell stuff, and they turn around and resell it. And that place was probably better for like finding pedals. You know, they had some decent guitars in there, but nothing really, you know, wasn't like a really overwhelming selection. But when it came to pedals, it's like you could find some cool stuff. You know, there's some older Ibanez Maxon pedals, some cool Boss pedals, you know, from the 70s and 80s. So, you know, and their prices were a little bit more reasonable. But with the exchange rate, it's like almost everything is kind of pretty much reasonable, except when you get to some of the higher end vintage stuff.
Awesome.
But yeah, Osaka was cool. I will say Kyoto didn't really have much. So if you're going to Japan expressly to look for guitars, I would
Don't
skip
go to
Kyoto,
Kyoto.
even though it's a great city to go to for history. But again, the only store that I saw there and that even my research turned up was a Big Boss store. Again.
Okay. So if you are going to Japan expressly for like, I want to see some great guitar stuff that maybe I wouldn't be able to see necessarily stateside. That's what I meant. Where would you recommend?
Well, I would recommend obviously Tokyo, because Tokyo is just huge and has probably, I don't even know how many, I'd say over 1,000 guitar shops as it is.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's outrageous, and like you'll just be walking around and you'll just stumble into a place.
And to put this in perspective, like what's the square kilometers mileage of
We're
Tokyo?
similar. Is it like Los Angeles? Closer
It's
to
like Los Angeles. Yeah,
Okay.
I've
Oh
always
my
like
gosh.
kind of
And there's
described.
how many guitar stores?
I don't even know for sure, but at one point I think I had heard like 3,000 guitar stores.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and I believe it because there's so many of them. Osaka would be my second place because, like I said, Americamura has a good concentration of them. But also, as you get on the outskirts, there are some smaller shops that if you dig around, if you have time. And as I said, it's got a good music culture there too. And they have some kind of some very funky, you know, downtrodden type of places that are also good to pick up bargains. There's an area kind of in the south section of the city. I can't remember the name of it, but there's this one section that was modeled after Coney Island. They have a big tower there, and it's kind of a famous thing where you see it's very colorful, and they used to have this big papier-mâché puffer fish. They've taken it down since. It's no longer there. But if you go south of there even further, it gets rougher and rougher. But then you'll turn up some really just wacky shops, you know, and it's one of those things that you never know what you'll find.
Wild.
Yeah.
Now, is there anybody that's organizing, you know, like guitar junkets in Japan that, you know, if, say somebody like me that doesn't speak Japanese or, you know, or a group of us wanted to go over that they could kind of direct us through? Or is that a new industry I'm creating?
That's my new industry. So, anybody want to sign up? You know? No, I don't know of anybody doing it. They should, you know, because I don't know if there's enough of an audience for that. But man, it's funny when I was over there, I was thinking exactly of that because it's like, it's just, I've always fantasized about, winning the lotto and taking over like 20, 25 people,
Yeah.
and showing them all these cool places because it's so cool.
Well, whenever that happens, I think Tony and I would figure out a way to do that. Rob, I don't know if
Well, I
Rob
like sushi.
would hack of that over there. Yeah, but I don't think they have Shure guitars over there. So
What about Jared?
I'm sure they do.
Jared, are you there?
Sure, they do.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah. So, anyways, give us a couple Tokyo highlights, Chris.
Yeah, Tokyo. Oh my gosh. Well, first thing, I did go to the the Fender flagship store just opened over there. It was only open 2 weeks when I was over there in July. Mm-hmm. It opened on June 30th. That's just a thing unto itself. I mean, this shows you how important the guitar is to Japanese culture. That Fender built this huge, high-rise guitar shop, in Harajuku, and it's 4 floors, and it's all Fender. It's not just, it's not FMIC with Gretsch, Jackson, and EVH and all that stuff. It's all just Fender.
Oh, I just assumed they'd have all the other brands.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that they didn't, but they have enough stuff to fill it up. And they have, on one floor, they have the Fender Custom Shop. And, of course, they just have some drop-dead gorgeous guitars there. And you can order your custom shop guitar there. You can sit down with a consultant and go through and all the specs and everything and order it. But they also have just, the full Japanese line, some of the stuff from America, but they have also just the Japanese-made stuff that you can't get in America, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So you'll see some models over there that we're never going to see over here. So it's cool in that respect. They also have some great souvenirs. Have a little Fender Tokyo section T-shirts, blue jeans, socks, cheese boards, pint glasses.
Yeah.
And they have a coffee bar down in the basement, and they actually serve cocktails and everything. And it's cool. I put a video up. Actually, I'm going to be putting more videos up. I'm just, when I get the time to edit everything, because I shot a ton of video footage. But I did a tour of the Fender flagship store that's on my YouTube channel, Professor Gill's Guitar Gear Galaxy, which, if you know any, Professor Gill is a character from this Japanese television show that was kind of like the precursor to Power Rangers. So it's called Android Kikaider. And Professor Gill is the villain of the show. So I thought, perfect, it's me.
Yeah.
So,
Now,
anyways,
do they have any? I'm assuming they don't have any of the Mexican made or the Squire line or anything like that at that store.
they do have some of that stuff, yeah. But it's it's whatever they sell in Japan essentially.
Okay.
So if there is some American made stuff, Mexican made stuff there. But it's also, they of course, being Japan, they take such a pride in the factory there. It's the Fujigengaki,
Right.
The legendary factory that built all those
The
wonderful Gibson copies.
Fujigengaki Legendary Factory.
Yes.
Put that in the back of your heads, ladies and gentlemen.
Now is that and I'm assuming that's different than the Terada factory. Is that right?
It is different than the Terada factory.
Okay.
And but it's they have some incredible craftsmanship there. They're a lot of people don't know this, but Fujigen basically saved Fender because they were making copies of Fender guitars that were better than what Fender was making in the 70s.
Yep.
And when CBS decided they wanted nothing to do with Fender any longer and were selling off the company, and Bill Schultz and company and all that started up, it was basically they bought the Fujigen, they bought guitars from Fujigen, for the new Fender to start up Fender again in the early 80s.
Because there was no U.S. production at that time, right?
Exactly. And so
Wild.
basically, and because the guitars were so good, it's like they sold and people said like, hey, Fender's getting good again.
Yeah. Well,
So-
and I think that helps also shed a little bit of light on if people don't understand why people speak highly of Japanese Fenders and why those are oftentimes sought out after more than the American ones. It's not just because they're from Japan and it's a novelty.
Right. They're a quality.
Yes.
And it's, as we were talking earlier, it's like, they look at stuff in fine detail and they copy everything to the nth degree, and they come to a deep understanding of what makes things tick.
Jared's like, hey, wait a minute.
Hey.
But
there's a bulletin's going to go out. Who let you invited these people here?
That was me.
Oh, dear. Okay.
But I do highly recommend going to the Fender flagship store. It's, if you're going to Tokyo, chances are you're going to end up somewhere near Harajuku. It's just it's a magnet for tourists.
What is something that we might see there that we couldn't get here?
At Fender?
Yeah.
Or at Tokyo?
The Fender Japan, Tokyo.
Oh, boy.
thing.
Well, they have a whole series of things.
Oh.
Boy, I'm trying to remember. They had a brand. It was kind of like these white guitars with these blue racing stripes down the middle. That was something. They have various artist guitars for Japanese artists over there.
Okay.
So they have a whole slew of those. They just have a whole Made in Japan series.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it. It's just like there's Strats and there's Tellys and different colors and different designs and stuff that you won't see here.
Yeah, they've been making some. I think they call them hybrid 60s and hybrid 50s in Japan.
Okay.
Yeah, there's those too.
And like the 6 is really cool. It's rosewood board. It's the tall, narrow frets, a little bigger neck, come in Sherwood green and like antique white or whatever, Olympic white. So some different colors and different options that just aren't available here.
Same body styles, though.
Yeah,
Those are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are, yeah. There are some more different, like you were talking about some of the hybrid stuff and all that. There's some different body styles. I mean, nothing too dramatically different. It's still, it's got the Fender DNA going on.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so what was the big gem, the secret, the golden Buddha that you found?
The golden Buddha. I mean, there's an area that I love. I'm going to do a video, but I'll let the cat out of the bag with you guys since I love you so much.
Thank you.
There's an area of Shinjuku. It's basically their Koreatown. And
Like actual
I guess if people
Koreatown?
aren't familiar with Tokyo, like Tokyo is basically a collection of a bunch of different cities. It's not just, Tokyo isn't just one monolithic city. It's really a collection of a bunch of cities. So you have Shinjuku, you have Shibuya.
like L.A.
Kind of like LA, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like LA, you have Hollywood and West
Silver
Covina,
Lake and West
Santa
Hollywood
Monica,
and all that. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
Except a lot of these places, not all of them, but a lot of these places have their own. They're all like sprouting of high rises in the middle of them.
Interesting.
I will say this about Japan: retail, is kind of unfortunately dying over here in the United States. It's so alive and well over there, and it's because every train station has like a department store, a collection of department stores built around them. You get off the train and there's already restaurants to go to. There's places to buy stuff, buy clothing and your everyday needs. Sometimes there's food halls, so they love to go out and shop, as opposed to like, I'm going to get on my computer and order something from Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Even though they have Amazon over there, I think I saw maybe 2 Amazon trucks the whole time I was there.
Wow.
Yeah. But, so
I
they're
saw
very big
2 on my street today.
Yeah.
So they're very big on retail and stores and everything. And, of course, they have shopping districts. And there's several big shopping districts in Tokyo. And you have kind of the central Shinjuku area has quite a few stores. In fact, a bunch of new ones I saw that I hadn't even seen before. You have Shibuya, which also not far from the train station. There's, again, another collection of really good shops. The big place is Ochinamitsu. That's Guitar Street. It's very close to Akihabara, which is kind of the big anime and high-end electronics section of Tokyo. And Ochinamitsu is just a long street. Goes on for about, I'd say it's probably about a half-mile long, and it's just covered with guitar shops. And you'll start with the Big Boss store as you get out of the Ochinamitsu train station. Like the Big Boss store is kind of like diagonal across the street. And that's kind of the big one. That's the biggest one of all the ESP shops. And they actually have a guitar school there. And it used to be a little bit bigger. This is one thing post-COVID that was a little bit of a disappointment, was that some of the shops have scaled back a bit. Like Big Boss used to have a pedal shop, on the main street. there in Ochanomizu, and that's not there anymore. Now the pedals are all up in the main store. But they still have a great selection. So it was cool to see that they just moved everything and kind of consolidated everything. But you go down this street and it kind of evens out. There's like a college and a hospital and some other stuff. And then there's more guitar shops. You have like Samitis, down there. And you have this place called Kurosawa, which is another big store. And all the big stores have their things there. And there's a few vintage stores and a few used stores. And it's very impressive. I think for the newcomer there, it's still impressive. And it's a must-see. For me, it was a little bit of a disappointment because it wasn't quite as jam-packed as it used to be. There's still good guitars, but I think, again, Reverb and J Guitar has kind of, stuff has been a little bit more picked over. So you don't, you used to be overwhelmed with like, oh my God, there's one of those. Oh my God, there's one of those. Oh my God, there's that. And now it's kind of a little bit fewer and far between. It's incredible, though, to go to some of the stores there. Like if you want to buy a PRS and, you don't mind lugging it home with you, or you want to buy a Gibson Les Paul, you can go to a store there and you can go through 40 of them,
Jeez.
So you can find the Les Paul that's right for you. And there's other shops, even like over in Shibuya, there's a place called Nico Guitars, and it's a very similar thing. It's a little bit smaller shop, but they have a ton of Les Pauls. They have a ton of Strats.
Wow.
More than you'll ever see it at a guitar center in Manhattan or Hollywood.
Wow.
it's
That's saying something.
Yeah. And Chris, you're talking like used stuff, right?
No, this is brand new. This is
Really?
in this case PRSs and Les Pauls. This is all brand new stuff.
Wow.
So there's that. Now for used stuff, let me get to my favorite area that I was talking about. The Koreatown section of Shinjuku is called Shin-Okubo. And there's a train called the JR Yamanote line. It's kind of this pale green color that designates it. It's a loop line. And it basically takes you everywhere you want to go, as a tourist newcomer to Tokyo. It does this circle around all the major areas. And chances are if you go to Tokyo, you're going to spend some time on the JR Yamanote line. And one of the stops is Shin-Okubo. It's just north of Shinjuku proper, like one stop. And you get off the train, you go through the turnstile, you make a U-turn, and you're on this street. And you have what I call the cream of the crop of the stores in Tokyo. It's not like a big street like Ochanomizu is, which is just covered with tons of stores. What you have is like a concentration of quality. And one of the first places you'll come across is this place called Hyper Guitars. It's a vintage specialist. It's the store for the stars. It's in a basement, and it's like going into a museum almost because it has so much good stuff. Vintage Mosrites from the 60s. They have like about a dozen of them. They have original Samitis guitars. They have, you name it for your Les Pauls. There's what I call the $1 million guitar wall. They have Eric Johnson's 1960 Les Paul standard. They have a gold top Les Paul standard with humbuckers. They have another burst up there. They have an original Explorer up there. It's just like, it just kills you. And I was in there looking, and it was kind of funny because I've been in there before, and I thought they knew me and recognized me, but I guess they don't, because they get a lot of people there. They get a lot of famous people in there. I don't even rank, but they're cool. But the main guy there was like this repair guy. Like you're coming down the steps, and the guy sees my GoPro and he like makes an X with his fingers, and that means no. No video, no photos. I'm like, shit. It's like I got to get video of this. But the guy who's the main owner, I wish I could remember his name. I can't remember it right now. But he came out and saw me like, hey, no, go ahead. Shoot, go ahead. And of course, he pulls stuff out of the back. And what's he pull out? He pulls out a 1961 Sonic Blue Stratocaster.
Ooh.
This is like the Beatles Stratocaster, the ones that George and John had, And it was incredible condition. It was beautiful. It lets me play it. It's just like, oh my gosh, and they have a room of amplifiers with just incredible Marshalls, incredible Fenders. It's a candy store. Stuff is expensive. I mean, it's vintage. It's top-notch vintage. This guy is world-class, I mean, I love Norm Harris and all those guys, but this store is just so packed with stuff, and it's just like, he's got the goods. So that's, you start with that. That's in the basement. Directly upstairs is a place called Tishigaki. And Tishigaki is more of a used store. It's a little bit
that's
more,
on Reverb and eBay, I believe, right?
That is on Reverb and eBay and
Yeah.
J Guitar and all the
They got
usual
good
suspects.
stuff on there.
They do have good stuff on there, and it's my favorite shop in all of Tokyo, to be honest. And I feel a little disappointed because they are, a lot of stuff is being sold. It's sold off. It used to be much better before the internet, made this stuff so easily accessible to people.
Yeah.
But they still have great stuff. They know where to get it. The employees there are by and large all ex-Guitar Factory employees. So they're industry guys, and they know the business inside and out. They also have a growing pedal section, which is really cool, and especially with a lot of homegrown Japanese pedals. So I recommend going there for that alone. It's a great place to go to find out, some cool new makers that you've never heard of before, and check out some different pedals that you're not going to find at home. Last time we talked about the baseball team, distortion boxes that they had. So, which I have to say, I'm bummed. On this trip, I became a fan of Hanshin Tigers, who just won the Japan Series here a couple days ago. In a crazy battle, way outdid our World Series here in the United States. It was just a nail biter. Went down to the last game, and it was full of drama. And Hanshin hadn't won since 1985, so there's that. And this whole crazy Colonel Sanders curse, which I won't get into. But anyways, it's like I wish I should have picked up a Hanshin Tigers distortion box while I was there, but I'll probably pick one up next time. But they have a lot of great stuff there. They do have American guitars, but their focus is really Japanese guitars. And so you will find a lot of cool stuff. And that's where I ended up actually getting the Mini Les Paul, the Grassroots Mini Les Paul.
You found it again.
Got it.
I did find it. I didn't find it. It was funny. I didn't find it in Ochanomizu, which I thought I would find it at the Big Boss store there. They didn't have them, So I was very disappointed. And I walked into TC Gaki and I look up right above my head and there it is. I love when that happens.
Cool.
So that's a great store. And then down the street, you've got Kurosawa. And Kurosawa, they have a number of different little specialist shops. They have a bass center. They have a steel string acoustic Martin guitar center. My favorite shop out of that, though, which is incredible, again, it's another place like a museum, is their classical guitar store, which you will see the masterworks. You will see the flamenco and classical masters, Hausers, Ramirez, I'm trying to remember all the different brands, but it's, the different makers. But they have, it's all behind glass, but just beautiful classical guitars. Or even if you want, a good starter classical guitar for, if you want to spend about $1,000, $2,000, it's a good place to go because they have them there and they curate them. And it's amazing. I'm a big classical guitar fan, actually, because I feel it's the most pure expression. If you get a very good classical guitar, it's like an entirely different experience because you're really at one with the instrument, expression and the feel and the vibration of the wood and the lightness of the build, blah, blah, blah. So I highly recommend that shop. It's the most impressive classical guitar shop I've ever been to.
Wow.
I've been to quite a few of them here in New York and, Los Angeles and even over, in Europe. And I think this Kurosawa shop hasn't beat. And like I said, this is all on this little street.
Wow.
It's just there. So if you go to Tokyo for a weekend or you're passing through or something, just get on the JR Yamanote line, go to Shinokubu, make that U-turn out of the turnstiles, and there you are.
Got
Go
it.
at it.
I just wrote that down.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Before we transition out and we get back in the bulletin trade and head out, I guess a big question that I have is, that's a lot of guitar stores.
It's a ton.
There are not a lot. I'm going to make the assumption that the overwhelming population is not living in standalone homes.
No.
So you know where I'm going with this.
I was thinking
Yes.
the same thing a little bit ago.
Where are they playing all this? And did you I guess I'm just curious. Do people who are buying this stuff, are they buying amps, or is there lots of band venues and stuff?
Well, this is the thing. There are band venues, and this is kind of funny because some of the places where the band venues are not necessarily where the music stores are. The band venues are basically, there's a area, if you go out further, if you take the straight line that goes out from Shinokubo, there's a line that goes basically to the east. And that will take you out to Koenji. And Koenji has a lot of clubs. There's also an area called Shimokitazawa, which is a great, cool neighborhood. Great food and great clothing stores, used clothing stores, concert T-shirts from the 70s and 80s all over the place from America. You know, they all end up there for some reason. I don't know why, but they buy them and send them over. But they have a lot of club venues and stuff. But yes, it's funny you mention that because now that I think about it, you don't really see these stores stocked with a bunch of amplifiers. You see mostly guitars and pedals, but you don't see like walls of amplifiers. You know, there's amplifiers there, and there's stuff to do demos, but it's like they aren't really moving amplifiers.
Right.
I mean, Hyper has like the classic, they have the Marshalls and all that stuff, which is great. But, you know, now that you mention it, yes, you don't really see a lot of them. I mean, the bigger stops you do that are stocked with the amplifiers, they have amplifier sections. You know, the big like Ishibashi and the big Kurosawa store over there in Ochinomitsu. But you'll see a lot of people walking around with gig bags, you know, on the subway, on the trains, you know, out in the streets. Karaoke bars now have machines with amp simulators in them. So you will walk by these karaoke bars and you'll see like a band, you know, and you'll see 4 guys, you know, or girls with guitars and bass and the guy with drumsticks. And they go into these rooms and they have like an electronic drum kit and they have amp simulators. So they can go in there and jam. It's like a rehearsal room. So that makes it, you know, a lot easier for people to do that sort of thing.
Wild.
Yeah, it's wild. Very cool.
So yeah, I guess a lot of these people are probably actually getting things like we were talking about earlier, like that universal audio pedal and the stomps and stuff like that. Why? That's well, it's a fascinating place, and I think that there's, you know, the idea of finding some weird old thing or just something that you just can't get here. But anytime you go on a travel and you find something that you get attached to, like you're like, wait, I gotta have this. It makes it all that more gotta have it-y because because you can't go back and get it.
I never leave Japan without a guitar. So every trip I go, I have to buy at least one. You know, and
I just sent you a link to the next one you have to get.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
How cool is that, right?
That is very cool. It's the bow diddly, the bow.
It's a samurai bow.
Samurai bow. Yeah.
Yeah, we're ladies and
Furai
gentlemen,
bow.
we're looking at a thing. It's called Goat Samurai. It must be greatest of all time samurai series.
Yeah.
Wind,
Well,
forest, fire, and mountain.
Those baseball team pedals, the Japanese baseball team pedals, are also goat.
Okay.
Pedals. So it must be Tsugaki's own brand, I guess.
Yeah, it's basically a Bo Diddley box, but it's got Japanese like writing all over it, which is
And a lipstick pickup.
that's cool.
Yeah,
That's super
Japanese
cool.
writing is a must for me. I mean, I'm one of those guys that will buy T-shirts that probably say like "stupid foreigner" on them.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna have to bookmark this one. I'm sorry, guys.
I will say
Gonna rock
though,
that out with the Valentinos?
my God, Google Translate, what a revelation! You know, now that you can do the talking into your phone and it will
Yeah.
translate it back to the guy. I had so many conversations with people that way, cab drivers and you name it. You know, it's made it so much easier now, especially because the further you get away from Tokyo, the less English is spoken.
Yeah.
So it was a godsend. You know, I kind of forgot about that feature, and then I was in Osaka, and the cab driver, like, you know, we weren't understanding each other. And he pulls out his phone and talks into it, and we do the whole thing. And like, oh yeah, that's right, it has that feature.
I loved using it. I loved using it in the tour at Gibson. I would say something like, you know, what's your favorite Gibson pickup? And then they all go, and they would listen to the lady speak through the Google
Right.
Transpeak, right? And they go, oh yeah, oh, and then of course they would have to translate it back to me, but it was a lot of fun. It's very useful.
I will give you guys a couple. These were my magic words that I learned over there. One was "gochiso-sama," which is something you say after a meal, after you finished. Which is basically, it's kind of like a spiritual thing. It's like, thank you for the food and for nourishing me and giving me life, you know, and
Right.
to carry on and to withstand another day, to play guitar and be awesome. You basically, it's best if you say it to the person who actually made the food, so the cook.
Uh-huh.
You know, if you happen to be a place where you can see into the kitchen and you shout out, "Hey, gochi-so-sama," it's like, man, they'll just light up. They're
That's
like,
cool.
"Why?" You know,
Gochi,
whoa.
what is it?
Gochi-so-sama.
Gochi-so-sama. Okay.
It's just at the start of the meal, it's traditional to say "itadakimasu."
Yes.
So that's the
Gochi-so-sama.
thing. But if you say gochi-so-sama is so much more rare at the end, and especially to hear it coming from a gaijin, just it's like, man, you'll
Yeah.
be like the most popular. You'll be a rock star.
Book number 3 in the James Clavell Asian Saga series. I'm just saying. Everybody out there.
Another great word I learned. I don't know if you guys have seen Reese Darby has done this show where he goes to Japan.
Been watching that.
On Amazon Prime. It's great. Of
Yeah.
course, the word he knows is oishi. You know, it's for delicious.
Yes.
Better word to say, because it's funny. Like, you watch the show and he says oishi, and he keeps he gets his pronunciation gets worse as it goes
He's
along.
so awkward.
But my word I like to say is subarashi.
Subarashi.
Which is awesome or wonderful or mega cool. So that's a good word. This is kind of more colloquial term, daijobu, which is kind of like, that's all right, it's cool, or hey, forget about it. It's kind of one of
Right.
those terms that you can use. It's kind of like,
that's
we're unable
that's
to process
cool.
your form right now, and you go, daijobu, it's
Yeah.
cool. You know, or
Whatever.
it is what it is, whatever. Yeah, or sometimes you're like, oh, okay, yeah, that's good. You know, like, here you will have your whatever ready for you in an hour. Oh, daijobu.
Yeah.
You know.
And you say, forget about it.
It's kind of one of those it's kind of like aloha where it has many different meanings depending on the context.
Yes.
But it's kind of like you can just throw daijobu out there and like people kind of laugh and go like, oh yeah, he gets it.
I love it. Well, Chris, that makes me want to go travel with you. I don't care where it is. Let's go.
And I didn't even get into the restaurants, which is just another, oh my God, that's another reason to go.
Yeah. Well, you just need another channel for that.
Yeah, you'll eat so good and for so cheap over
man.
there.
Yeah. Many more conversations to be had about this, I hope, with you. We
Anytime.
need to check in with Jared right now.
That's right.
Are we gonna hop
We're going to
into
get on the bullet train.
No, we're gonna hop into the Subaru Brat.
Subarashi,
No, let's not.
We got a cherry one imported from a Subaru Brat store in Osaka.
That's right.
I owned a Subaru Brat at one time.
Yeah, well, see, you know then.
Yeah, it was white with orange racing stripes.
Perfect. And the jump seats in the back with the Oakley
Jump seats in the back with the
Oakley
hand
grips.
grips.
Yeah, you had to have the grips.
That's the Oakley 3 grips. That's what
Yep.
No seat belts, but you did have
Yes.
the grips.
Actually, they did have seat belts, but I think mine were like rotted away. So.
Yeah. Jared, take it away.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's come to that time to the show where we're going to play a little game of Would You Rather? This Would You Rather is from Double B, Bruce Bacon. And it's called The Phoenix. The Guitar Knobs podcast has been deemed a significant influencer by esteemed guitar manufacturers. Gibson and Ibanez have offered to create a limited run of a currently discontinued model. Now, this is just play. I work for Gibson. This is not true.
I thought you worked for Ibanez.
No. Each contract, but Ibanez is cool, right? Each contract stipulates a no complete clause, so you can only rebirth one guitar. Actually, you will be choosing the color and hardware finish of this limited run. So, would you rather revive the Gibson ES 137 Classic or Prestige line Ibanez Destroyer DT555 made in Japan by Fujijin Geki?
Now, this is going to be fun because we also, we get to pick the color and, all the appointments.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So we're not set like on that bridge that came on.
Well, yeah.
Well, yeah. What?
But that's not the color. It's like,
But they're gonna
color
make it
and knobs
modern
and all
day.
that stuff.
Okay, but like we're stuck with whatever the bridge is, kind of
Yeah.
thing. Okay.
So let's just talk about really quick here. The Gibson ES 137 is Tony. Describe that.
I mean, it's a kind of I would call it an entry level jazz box single cutaway Florentine cutaway.
Florentine being
A sharp point
sharp
comes
horn,
to a sharp horn down below.
Sharp horn.
But yeah, I mean they're cool. I've owned a couple of 137s over the years, and they're good guitars.
And they're semi, and are they? How deep are they?
They are. I can't remember if they're shallow.
They're not. They're
Medium.
they're not the deep ones.
Yeah.
But they're not.
They're the-
one.
I don't think they're 335. I think they're a little thicker than a
Okay,
335.
but they're still semi, so they got a block down the middle.
There is no block in those.
There's no block in those with the
If I'm
humbuckers?
not mistaken, I do believe that Geordie from Killing Joke played an ES 137 as well as his 295 and some other stuff. But I think he also had a 137. I vaguely recall that from an interview with him I did.
We did them in 2010. They're pretty, and we did some fancy stuff to it. So, and there's humbuckers. There's a baritone switch there. So, I mean, in real life, we have revived those.
Yeah, but the ones that we're talking about right now aren't the rare ones. It's the redo. So that they're both at about $1,200, $2,000, something like that.
Yeah,
Sure.
fair enough.
Okay.
So this is it looks like a little bit bigger than a Les Paul, but not as big as a ES 335.
Oh, it's as big as an.
It's a 335.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that body looks
It looks a little bit smaller, but that's okay.
Yeah, think of a single cutaway ES 335 with a Florentine.
Right. So in theory,
completely
this is
hollow.
pretty cool if it's black.
With a gold pickguard, right?
Yeah,
Yes, gold sparkle picker.
it. Yeah.
Okay, then what's the other one?
The other one is the Destroyer. Now, the Destroyer is kind of like an Explorer.
It's an Explorer.
It
I
just
mean, when you go to the original.
Well, yeah, but we're not talking about the original Ibanez Destroyer was basically an Explorer,
Right.
Like just
Straight up.
So let's
Yeah.
talk about this 550 whatever here.
This
is
was basically, they did a variation of it that was the Phil Collin of Def Leppard model.
right, which is super cool, and that's the one that really, if you think of that guitar, that's what conjures it. So it's
DT555.
three double cream humbuckers in the middle, gold hardware, big block pearl inlay, and a gold what's that, like rose or Kaler on there?
Kaler.
And the difference between this and like the Explorer is they did a couple little like carves out of some of the angles, and it just gives a little
Bird beak.
weirdness that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's
And Dean
old
kind of
cool.
did something the same way.
Kinda, yeah, but it's Dean.
Yeah.
Anyways, so
Jeez.
well, I mean,
Yeah, but it's
this
Dean.
is anyways, whatever. Okay, we're talking about these ones.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, here we go.
Hondo did one too.
Yeah, anyways, yeah. So did Hamer. I mean, but okay.
Right.
Sitova?
Tony,
Yes.
you go ahead and lead us off.
Well, I mean, I'm a bit more of a traditionalist. So I think I would probably go with a orange metallic ES 137
An orange metallic?
I don't know if
To
Gibson's
go-
going to do that for you.
to go with the Guitar Knobs limited edition.
Wow, that is very cool.
Yes, with gold hardware,
Yeah.
kind of like the V that I put together.
Yeah, but on a V,
Kinda.
that makes sense. On this thing,
You got a problem with that?
I
Do it.
do.
Well, I mean,
I do.
The Gretschens are orange. Why not these?
I know, but
Why not these, Tony?
Why not these?
And if you said transparent, like 6120, that's one thing. But you're talking a metal flake with gold.
Yeah. Come on, do it up.
Amen. In your world, yeah, okay.
In my world, all is well.
I love it. I think
gonna
it's
look like
and,
a
and
huge
with a
pumpkin.
with a giant inlaid Guitar Knobs logo on the headstock.
oh, dear
Oh, I
God.
thought you were gonna say like
the
the
fretboard.
cash style fretboard.
Yeah.
No.
Knobs.
No.
Yes.
No knobs.
Okay.
Oh,
Very
that
cool.
would be cool. No knobs.
No knobs on the nuts.
On the guitar knobs
Right.
guitar.
Excellent.
Oh Lord.
Rob, how about yourself?
I'm gonna go with the Gibson as well. But mine's not gonna be god awful metallic orange.
This is the guitar knobs.
It's a guitar knobs
so
limited
basically
edition.
it's gotta be
I
either
understand what we're doing here, but
red
yeah.
or I mean green.
Green.
Where
did that come
Italian
from?
one.
Green.
Yes.
What is Christmas time?
No, orange, white, and black. So some combination of that.
Yes, and gold.
Oh, you mean so?
They're making one for the show.
Oh dear God!
Did you?
Oh,
Were you
my
not
God.
paying attention
No.
when Jared
no,
was reading?
no. He said whatever we could outfit it how we want it. Well, I
It's the
wasn't gonna do.
guitar knobs limited edition.
You know what? One in white would be cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
That and white, like a transparent white. So you
But
can
what
see the
else are you
finish.
doing to it that's going to make it of the show?
That's it.
Okay.
And I'm putting P90s in mine.
Maybe in really small inlay on the back of the headstock, put like the guitar knob.
Got
Put it in
Okay.
pencil.
Yeah.
Put it in pencil.
Yeah. It just says ask me about amps on the back.
It says Chafe.
All right. Jared, about yourself.
Yeah, it's got to be sparkle orange like Tony Bolonsky.
Well,
and
and you gotta say which guitar and keep in mind who you work for, so you know.
yeah, of course Gibson. I mean, the Destroyer does kind of look like an Explorer, so yeah, definitely the Gibson. Although, dude, that Destroyer is sick. The black with the double creams.
It
It's so cool.
It is.
Those must
Yeah.
be DiMarzio pickups in there.
Yeah, they are actually. Yeah, and they're cool.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, the Gibson ES 375 with I tell you, I'm going to get
137.
137, not a 375.
137. I'll do the we'll do the black P90s, and each knob will have the guitar knob's logo on the knob with the numbers. It will go to 11. And yeah, that's about it. And with black hardware, not chrome or gold, but it's going to be black hardware. So black,
okay.
bridge,
Ah.
yeah,
like it.
black knobs.
And are okay. The knobs are still black. Okay.
So you guys get the idea.
Yeah.
Okay, Chris.
You know where I'm going.
I know where you're going. We're both going there.
I've got to go with the Ibanez and the Fuji Gengaki. And for
There we
me,
go.
you know, the as is black with the cream and the gold, it evokes so many of my favorite guitars of all time, whether it's Jeff Beck's Oxblood Les Paul or Al Di Meola's Elegant Gypsy Les Paul, Peter Frampton's Frampton Comes Alive Les Paul, you know, the Phil Collin guitar Here As It Is, Lita Ford's Black Hammer. You know, one of my bucket list guitars is a Greco, Destroyer Greco, what do they call it, EX 800. That's black finish with the cream pickups and the white, pickup selector, poker chip. I'm always looking for those. I see them from time to time, and I haven't found the one yet, But that's just like a bucket list guitar for me. I love that motif.
Yeah.
I think if there's the only thing I would change, I would just go for a standard stop tailpiece, not a trim, because it's an Explorer. I'm sorry, an Explorer just you got to go for the grind,
Yeah.
Agreed.
I think that's an accommodation that they'd be willing to make.
Cool.
Well, I got to go the same route there. And it's I mean, I love it in black. I love it in black. I think I got to probably keep it in black. I'm trying to figure out where to work in a little bit of orange here, but
The logo.
yeah, I don't know. I really like it the way it is, but
Orange binding.
oh my gosh, no, couldn't do that.
Orange
That'd
pickups.
be terrible.
The
No, you know
Yeah.
what? I'm gonna go.
pumpkin pickups.
I would go with go big. Let's go big metal flake, heavy flake, heavy flake.
Yeah, like size of a quarter.
Big size of a quarter. Heavy flake.
Scales.
Yeah, scales. Orange. Why not?
On that guitar,
it's an
it
outrageous
looks
guitar.
absolutely appropriate.
Yeah, why not?
It'll be amazing.
Why not?
So we're gonna do that, I think. But I'm gonna keep the. Actually, I'll keep the double creams, but do maybe black rings. No.
Yeah, I don't know about that. You
Okay.
kinda lost
Well,
me
I'm
on that.
trying to work it in, guys. Give me a break.
No, definitely cream
Okay,
ring.
cream.
Cream.
Anyways, so that's what I'm doing. But secretly, I just want a black one with all the cream. And now I kind of want to find one of these because it's just so outrageous and cool. And I'm with you on that. I think just a stop tail would be cool. Woo, doggies! But I'd throw a Duesenberg on it just for fun. Hey, now.
There you go.
All right, that was a super fun one, Bruce. Very, very cool. I appreciate that, and thanks for sending that in. Tony, we got to thank a few people and get on down the road to catch the bullet train out of here.
Oh, yes, we do, Todd, because at this point of the show, there's a very special group of people we love to thank. These are our executive producers.
That's right.
Now, an executive producer makes this show possible. How do you become one?
I don't know.
Head over to patreon.com / The Guitar Knobs. Check out a couple different levels in which you can participate, become a hero, a sponsor, a patron, an all-around nice person to the podcast.
Yes.
Each level comes with some very nice thank you gifts, including automatic entries into our special giveaway.
Oh, yeah. We will have just given away the pedals,
Millions of things.
the pedals, and we have a whole bunch more things.
But as an executive producer, Todd, there's one thing more. What is it?
You get to have your name right on the thing.
That sounded nothing like Todd.
I'll make
Because
the
he doesn't
exception.
say it, I do.
Yes.
That's right. Get your name right on the thing. That's what I'm going to do right now. So special thanks to these executive producers. Vader and Pedals, John Halverson, Rick Calhoun, Trevor Gunberg, Elad Mizrahi, Mike D, Richard Kendall, James White, Motander Guitars, Anthony Jamalero, Bill Gola Guitars, John Esterly, Anthony Lathrop, Stefan Lamb, Michael Senchuk, Ken Sayers, Doug Christ, Darren Gregory, Tom Barazin, Rusty Sneeden, Ralph Gottschalk, Don Kloss, Gregory Randall, Brett Hogarth, Eric Hemmer, Stuart George, Michael Furman, James Bell, James Romer, Cameron Pampas, David Tyndall, Trevor Ellenberg, and Christopher Logan.
I love it. That's amazing, Tony. These are great things that are happening.
Todd,
Yes?
there's more, though.
Oh.
What?
There's more because there's a special group of executive producers. These are our Grand Poobahs. They wear a fez upon their heads while listening to the podcast, you know.
Yes.
So special thanks to these Grand Poobahs. Tommy Manasco, Ricardo Iguereda, David Kaminga, Brandon Wound Pickups, Hex Matos, Michio Murakishi, Bob Crouch, Jack Cadian, Sam Jett, Tyler Rhines, LSJ Music Company, John Williams, James Pennington, Steve Keys, Cody Foster, Science of Sound, Brian Robinson, Jonathan Jerusik, Corey Nigro, Michael Van Zant, Tim Nowak, Jonathan Daly, Martin Cliff, Sean S. David Poe, Billy Spitfire Unlimited, Congregation Gear Demos, Paul Von Eppinger, Scott Sullivan, Great Lakes Guitar Pickups, Matt Hart, Enrico Fernando, and Moon Guitars.
We truly thank you. And if you are considering becoming a
How would they say that in Japan?
what? We
they say
truly
what?
thank you.
Yes.
Arigato gozaimasu.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Gozaimasu. To all of our poobahs, if you are considering being an executive producer or grand poobah, now's the time. Do it. Support our show. We will love you for it.
Be a hero.
Yes.
Dajobo.
All right, Tony.
Yes?
we need to say thanks to Chris Gill.
I thought
for
that we would
swinging
probably
by
do that.
and helping us have a great time and learning about guitar stores in Japan and all that good stuff. It's always a joy talking with you, Chris, and you're welcome back anytime.
Oh, my pleasure. I can go on for days about this stuff. I got to take you guys over one of these days. It's just we're going to have to do it.
I'm up.
I'm up for it.
My hand is raised.
Yep, let's do it.
It's a bucket list of mine. I gotta go.
Oh
You
my gosh.
got to go. You definitely got to go. I mean, now is a
Yeah.
great time because the exchange rate. Oh my God, it's like going to the most amazing futuristic first world country with below third world prices right now.
Wow.
We'd probably get some kind of special tour like celebrities get at Disneyland if we brought Jared over
Brought
there.
Jared, yeah.
Yeah.
We could charge admission.
Oh my gosh, that'd be amazing. We'd have our own train.
They love me, man. Every
They'd all
time
go
I-
running.
Would we have to put him in a sumo
Well, we'd
wrestler
have to
outfit, though?
We'd have to lay him down and then get a whole bunch of people to put him in horizontally.
Yeah.
You mean like every building we go into?
Anyway,
That's right.
Chris, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
You are more than welcome.
Always a blast. Like I said, I can talk about this subject, go on and on. We've only scratched the surface here. This country is so damn deep. I'm still discovering stuff after I get back. Always, like if I went around the corner, I would have discovered this. It's just like, oh my gosh.
Too true. Too true.
If people want to learn more of your travels and other things,
Where
would
can they
you-
go?
Where can they go?
Well, there's my Instagram page, Chris Gill VH Writer. I'll put stuff out there occasionally. Also, I promised to put more stuff on my YouTube page, which is Professor Gill's Guitar Gear Galaxy. I've got my Fender flagship store video up there. I plan on putting up my Shinokubu video very soon. I plan on putting up an Ocho no Mitsu, an Osaka tour video. So I've got about 4 or 5 guitar-related videos coming up probably next couple months.
And a new book on the way, so we need to be looking out for that. You'll give us a
that
heads up,
may
right?
be a while. So
Okay.
yeah, but fingers crossed we get this thing going off the ground. We're working on it.
Planting the seeds.
Yes.
All right, Tanya, where
Yeah.
can people find you?
Head over to pickguardian.com. Check out some of the things that I have available online. But by and large, what I do is custom work. Custom work.
Yes, make your guitar
Even more yours.
even more guitar-y. Okay, that should be a shop over there, guitar-y. Okay,
that'd be great.
Rob,
Yes, Todd.
where can people find you?
Instagram, Mad Cow Amplification. Facebook, OnlyFans.
Again with that. Yes.
I want to create make like extra $5 a month.
It's
That'd
just
be great.
it's just pictures of
have one
used
subscriber.
soldering irons.
Tony.
Yes. If you want to see some hot soldering irons, go over there.
Yeah.
All right. Jared, about yourself.
Not only fans or TikTok. You won't find me there. You will find me on Instagram.
How do we get-
Jared.allen.brandon. And you can send me a message if you want to get a hold of me.
All right. With enthusiasm. All right. Let's see. You can shoot me an email at todd@theguitarknobs.com. You can also hit me up directly on Instagram, which tends to work the best, if I'm being honest, at Guitar Knobs. Love to hear what's going on with you, what you think of the show. Share us your would you rathers. Bruce Bacon's not the only guy that can come up with stuff, for Pete's sakes. Or Bob Crouch. Come on there. I know you got some good ones, so send them our way. Also, check out the Valentinos band, my band, on the Spotify and everywhere else that you can stream things. If you like some hard driving rock and roll,
Do they do custom work?
we do. We only do custom work. Yes, actually, that Rolling Stones cover we did is hot right now. We're getting good numbers on it, which I'm excited about.
Nice.
And then, let's just keep it moving. Oh, protect your knobs. Get the Stomper for your HX Stomp.
Stomp,
There's
stomp.
people in Japan. We know you're using the Stomper because you don't have amps in your rooms. So get one of those from flinteffects.com. Doggone it.
Yes.
Everybody, this has been a super fun time, hasn't it, boys? Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Cue applause and all that stuff. All right. Chris, thanks again. And have a fantastic guitar week, everybody. And subscribe.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to Bologna's this week.
I'm just going to leave that in.
Welcome back, Jared.
Did I tell you about the Mellotron pedal, the Mel 9?
Yes.
Yes.
Was that the
Well,
pedal?
then let me tell. I did tell you.
Ooh, trail mix. Can we rattle the bags?
That's why I bought it.
Remember a few weeks ago when you said, "Oh no, save it for the next one."
Yes.
I forgot what it was.
That's
It was
your thing?
Well, that's
It
great,
was a
Jared.
pedal.
Thanks for sharing, buddy.
Yes. Sheesh. All right, Jared should be joining us, and when he does come in, we all know what he's going to do.
Test.
Is it like 3 books long or what?
No, I even spread all the sentences out for you so you don't get tripped up.
Beautiful.
Here's a sentence, space. Here's a sentence, space. It's perfect.
The Phoenix.
Does it say the word space?
No. That would have been hilarious, though. Space. Anyways,
One of
Rob,
Todd's earliest
earmuffs,
jobs.
Rob, earmuffs. Yes.
Was already doing.
Put that stuff away, you bastards.
Yes.
I'll stop.
There it is.
There's a test. Yay.
No, wait a minute. We're not going there. Time out. We're not. No. Hang on. No sex, no drugs, no wine, no women, no fun, no sin, no you, no wonder it's dark. Okay. Anyways, Jared, what did you have for breakfast?
I had nothing. Just emptiness and coffee.
I
I feel like I just entered somebody's phone conversation.
you
Pretty much.
kind of did.
Oh.
Yes.
Test.
No. Okay, Jared, how you doing?
What's happening? What's up? Good.
What's up? I'm good.
Good.
All right.
Good.
You
Let's
you
go.
sound like you're coming from where Chris is in Jersey.
Well, then let me share a different pedal with the group that I got.
He's just going through a box of stuff.
Yeah.
Have I
It's
talked
the
to you about
incredible
my
Shaq
quad?
Man pedal.
I swear to.
Test.
Yeah.
This is the Rowan.
Yeah, we talked. Remember when he was on? We talked about that. How stoned
Yeah.
are you?
I'm not stoned at all.
I didn't think it was legal down there in Tennessee.
And away we go.
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.